Rey Mysterio's time in WWE is one of many highs and lows. In terms of lows, his in the grand scheme of things aren't even bad, especially for somebody of his size. To navigate the waters of WWE and actually come out of it a successful wrestler is almost miraculous. His career didn't even open the doors for others because he's truly one of a kind. You don't often hear about somebody who's Rey Mysterio's size succeeding in WWE. I'm pretty sure outside of the US, Rey's top 5 most famous wrestlers out there, his mask is synonymous with wrestling. Somebody sees a masked wrestler, they think it's him. And up to 2010, his reputation had never been better. The number 2 babyface on SmackDown, only behind The Undertaker, main eventing the shows, and his efforts weren't going to be rewarded with a title initially. He probably had the most main events on SmackDown that year, but a title reign wasn't on the cards until The Undertaker suffered that nose injury. Reported by Figure 4 Wrestling, Rey was actually supposed to go on a month-long vacation at the time. It was of course much deserved, however The Undertaker's injury and subsequent marriage to Michelle McCool meant that he had to take time off. And the champion Jack Swagger turned out to have one of the most disappointing world title reigns of all time. Swagger's charm from before WrestleMania was nowhere to be found, and in addition, at times looked so out of his depth. And in their eyes, there's only one way to go. Big Show isn't seen as champion at the moment, CM Punk wore a mask and the society was not as strong as previously, and Rey Mysterio was the most viable. The match at Fatal 4-Way was decent, problem was it didn't last long enough, and when Kane came out, it was the beginning of the end of the match. Rey hits the 619 and wins it. The crowd from my perspective almost felt surprised that the ref counted the 3, but Rey was champion now. 2-time champion, it was from out of nowhere. Unfortunately though, there was a lot of doubts over his run because for one, they didn't hesitate to even budge in the last 4 years after he lost the title. Why now? Because he was simply a transitional champion. That's what it was. Jack Swagger meanwhile felt so irritated over being cheated out of the title that he was going to release his anger over everybody. He debuted the ankle lock and forced Big Show to tap out to the move, showing that he's for real. To him, this should be the discussion, not the Money in the Bank briefcase, because at the time WWE was preparing for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But on the topic, he spoke about winning the briefcase and becoming champion, and he was talking about like it was 2 years ago or something. The look on his face made it seem like he fell off. Swagger was upset over being cheated in the Fatal 4-Way match, and the fact that there was no rules, no protection for the champion, and the worst part of it all was what it did to his father. Big Show made fun of him like he wasn't the one who got beaten up last week, and comedian Big Show wanted to focus on other things. Swagger delusionally believed the fans wanted him as champion, and Big Show gave him a reality check. He was ready for a fight as well, but Cody Rhodes went after his leg. The heels jump and Rey Mysterio makes the save. Now one thing to mention is that despite Rey becoming champion, he did not appear on that week's SmackDown at all. This was actually the week afterwards. And this image seems so fake because Rey had such a short title reign. Like I remember watching SmackDown every week. I remember he was champion, but don't remember him actually holding the title or wearing it on his waist. Rey said that it feels great to be reliving his dream to once again be world champion. He said that it's taken his whole career to get here, and he wasn't going to let Jack Swagger take that away from him. For a post-winning title promo, this was so damn short. It was very overlooked because, as I said, 2-time champion, it's a big deal, right? He was focused on the main event match with Swagger more so as expected. The match did not end so well for Rey, who struggled to combat Swagger in his ankle lock. The maneuver did such a number on the champion that he was left limping. Rey's status for Money in the Bank was becoming doubtful. The diagnosis for this injury was that it was a ligament tear and he needed rest and some stability. Swagger though saw it differently and bullied him out of the room with the ankle lock. 1 minute of the most excruciating pain on the most damaged part of his body, and even then Swagger dragged him out to the arena. Once again he locks in the ankle lock and it would have continued, but the Big Show made the save. Big Show's all upset like he didn't do this. The reason why he was so angry was because he had endured the ankle lock first. Swagger is all about injuring others. Now Rey's hurt. As for him, he never felt the possibility of his bones breaking like he did in the ankle lock. Now he's 100%, and tonight he put some fear in Jack Swagger. About that, yeah, Big Show gave him a whooping, but it all came down to one touch to the leg, and Swagger made a run for it before being held for interrogation by Kane. This was in relation to the Undertaker's attacker. I made a video on it. Here it is. You can check it out if you're interested. And Rey Mysterio, meanwhile, was still in a tough position. Just the slightest touch to that ankle would affect the champion. When Josh Matthews asked how he would defend the title, Rey said that he's going out there and forfeiting the title to Jack Swagger. He couldn't believe it, but Mysterio clearly wasn't serious. He knew that he wasn't going to be invincible with the ankle brace, but he believed that it was going to give him support to stand up and give him the confidence to live his dream as world champion. He even said that karma works in a mysterious way, which was of course about the whole Kane thing. Swagger didn't take these remarks seriously, and his words were about providing an alibi to Kane. The champion took advantage of this to run in and hit the 619 on a distracted Swagger before making a run for it. So this build was extremely short and was mainly centered around Kane and the Undertaker's vegetative state storyline. That story had been building for 2 months, so as expected, Rey Mysterio and his title reign was going to take a back seat to this. Why? As I said earlier, Rey was given the title simply as a reward. So this is what it's come down to. Rey Mysterio's aspirations and dreams of holding the world title and validating his dreams were surrounded by a dark cloud. Jack Swagger's dangerous ankle lock had made an impression on everybody that had endured it, and his disappointment within his eyes, an unfair situation, brought him to become more calculated and dangerous than ever before. High key, this was one of Jack Swagger's best matches in WWE, also one of Rey's best attires. Let's talk about it. Rey's elusiveness and quick pace was not on display here. Swagger was eager to get his hands on the ankle because that would mark the beginning of the end. Rey was desperate to fight out of these situations and showed more aggression and focus than he did in the last 2 weeks. He was caught here but quickly took advantage, and despite the pain he was in, still went flying. Swagger's mindset at this point was just to take control, and he did here after Rey wasted time being timid. He went to work with a knee bar, and all Rey had to rely on was timing. Here he avoided the splash and went up top. Beautiful split-legged gets him a near fall, and as Matt Striker said, he was going all out because of the ankle. The match kicked into high gear with Swagger hitting the gut-wrench powerbomb. But this wasn't enough for the victory though, and oddly enough, Rey was more aggressive than Swagger. He had the ankle in mind, and as he's going for some power slams, Rey counters with the DDT and gets a near fall. 619 Senton is unsuccessful, and he's caught in the ankle lock. The champion quickly leaped over to the rope. This gave way to 2 splashes from Swagger, and he went right back to the ankle. His boot was loosened, and things were looking bad for the champion, but the Eddie Guerrero tactic worked here, and he hit the Hurricanrana 1, 2, 3. Right after the match, Jack Swagger continues the attack. He locked in the ankle lock and forced him to tap. All of a sudden, Kane comes out and gets rid of him. Rey celebrates, and he's back. This time with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and Rey knew he was finished. He was cashing in, and the referee rings the bell. Rey had nowhere to go, and Kane went right after the injured ankle, and then followed up with a tombstone. 1, 2, 3, new champion. Kane was finally the World Heavyweight Champion after 12 years. Yeah, 12 years since Kane actually held the world title, and last time it was literally a one-day title reign. Since then, a lot's changed. He's evolved as a character, and they're finally going to give him a long run that honestly he deserved. It's a weird run, though, because, Kane... At the time, Kane was like literally upper mid-card. He just didn't seem like a viable champion compared to others. It was random, but he deserved it, that's for sure. Now about this match, I thought it was very good. They told a great story with Rey Mysterio becoming the super underdog. He had to fight from under like never before. He had an injury that had a big red target on it, and Jack Swagger was all up for just going after it. It was a great story. Swagger looked like a bloodthirsty heel, and I do wish they had a bit more time because it would have been a bit better, but it was still a great match. That's for certain. They had 10 minutes and they made the most out of it. And for Jack Swagger, once again, one of his best matches in WWE. Okay, that's Rey Mysterio's title reign. There's not much to say. It's probably worse than his first because this is purely transitional. It's literally 1 month. He comes in, gets his ass beat for most of it, wins the only match he defends the title in before losing it to Kane. It ain't 06, which had much better matches to it and was longer, and it's only a transitional reign. It's like that Jeff Hardy title reign from 2008. Like, you have your moment, but it's time to drop the title a month later. So yeah. Alright, what'd you guys think of Rey Mysterio's title reign? Please comment down below, and that's for this video. Make sure you hit the seated senton on the like button and perhaps the 619 on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.